everyone, it's Hunter and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, it is so nice to meet you. Today's video, a couple things. I have this on my shirt because I just gave my baby a bottle before I put her down for her nap, so ignore that. And also, my voice is a little messed up. I had COVID last week, and so this is my voice kind of recovering from that. Today we are going to be talking about my goals from February, like reflecting on them, setting new goals for March, and I'm also going to go over the books that I read in February. I normally do this as two separate videos, but because I had COVID, I had to miss a couple of uploads, so I just decided to combine them into one, so I hope you don't mind. But with that being said, this is gonna take a while, so let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's talk about my goals from February and to see how I did. So my first goal was to post 8 YouTube videos, which I did not do. Something happened when my camera dies for some reason. If I am like actively recording something happens to the file. I don't know how to fix it. So if I like notice that my battery's about to die, then I have to like get it really quickly before my camera decides to turn off. And so that's what happened, is my camera turned off while it was still recording because of a dead battery, and I lost all of the footage that I filmed. And I filmed it the day before, so I procrastinated on that. So I was not able to get that video up on time, so I did only post 7 full YouTube videos. But my next goal was to post 15 short form videos, which I feel like I knocked it out of the park on this one. According to my February recap on Studio, it shows that I posted 24 shorts, and I know I posted more than that on TikTok, but I am just really proud of myself because short form has always been an incredibly intimidating kind of content for me to make. I've been making long form YouTube videos for so long that switching my gears to short form has been just like really intimidating over the last couple of years, and I really need to keep up if I'm gonna continue to grow on my platforms. So that's kind of what I'm working on, which is why I'm trying to post at least 15 times a month. The next goal I had was to take less naps. I know that's very like vague, but I tend to take a nap at the same time that my daughter does. A lot of times she needs to contact nap, so not all the time, but sometimes she just will not go down, but she'll contact nap, especially like when she was sick, she contact napped, and so I end up napping at the same time. Or sometimes I'm just like so exhausted. I did a really good job at the beginning of this month, but I mean of February, but I think I kind of like slipped a little bit and took more naps for the end of February. But again, I had COVID, so we're gonna ignore it. My next goal was to keep up with the laundry. This was something I do think I did a good job of, so go me. Next was to start planning my daughter's birthday party. Not only did I start planning it, I got most of my planning done. I got all of my planning done, so now it just comes down to like executing things. Her birthday is a month from the day that I'm filming this. She is 11 months old today, so obviously 1 more month and she'll be a year old. So there's that. And then 2 more goals I had were to stay caught up with the Bible recap. The Bible recap is a book by Terry Lee Cobble, and it has a podcast and also on the Bible app if you like don't have the book. But it basically takes you through the year, through the Bible in a year, and so you get like different passages to read every day, and it's going through the Bible chronologically, so like the order in which it happened, not the order in which the books are in the Bible. So I didn't do a great job in January of like keeping up with it. I am up to date right now, which is really exciting because we are 3 months in, so I'm really proud of myself for continuing to do it. But I just was talking to other people and they were talking about them like being 1 or 2 days behind at a time. I was like, I'm getting like 6 and 7 days behind, so I definitely did a lot better at keeping up with that. And the last goal I had was to read 8 books. 10 books. I only read 8, but I read like 18 or 19 in January, so I feel like that kind of evens it out a little bit. I'm still 12 books ahead on my Goodreads goal, so I'm not too concerned about that. And I'll go over those books in just a few minutes, but first we're going to talk about the goals that I am setting for March. So obviously March has already started, so I have already started working on a few of these goals. I wrote them down on this piece of paper. So the first goal that I have is to post short form on every platform every single day. So I want to post a reel, a TikTok, and a short every single day. If I post more than one, that's great. If I only post one, that's also great. Every single day, I am going to allow myself a single grace day where if I miss a day, then I will not be too hard on myself. But there are 31 days in March, so I want to post at least 30 days. So far I've done that every single day, and being able to batch content has made things easier, but I'm just excited to kind of see if my channel and my other platforms will grow with my consistency. So we'll see how that goes. Next, I want to earn enough money for a YouTube paycheck. I actually looked at my analytics and I'll be getting a paycheck in March, so I'm not actually sure if I will make enough in March to see a paycheck in April. If you don't know, you get paid for the whole month at one time the next month. So I will get paid between the 21st and the 25th of this month for what I earned through the end of February. And I know that I saw that I'm getting one for March, so I don't know if I'll get one. The next one is to change the sheets once a week. I know I feel so much better when my sheets are clean. I really need to change them now, but I'm waiting until this like gunky grossness is all gone because I don't want to change my sheets and still be sick. So I want to change the sheets at least once a week. I'm not sure what day of the week, but just at least once a week. I want to make less impulse purchases. I made quite a few impulse purchases in February that just like were not necessary. Like I bought a bunch of bows for my baby. Like she doesn't already have a bunch of bows, but whatever. I need to stop making so many impulse purchases and really just focusing on the things that we need. And the last goal for March is to read 8 books, which I did last month, so I know that that's possible, but that's everything I have for March. So now let's talk about the books I read in February. So like I said before, whenever I was going over my February goals, I only read 8 when my goal was 10, but the reason for that is because several of the books that I read were quite longer than I usually read. So let's just, actually I have Goodreads pulled up on my computer, so let's do it this way. Alright, so the first one I read is Next Girl Missing by L.A. Larkin, and I read this one on my Kindle, and it's about this serial killer, was called the Poster Killer. He basically would haunt little girls, or hunt for little girls, I guess, and then he would post a missing poster of the girl, and he would post it before she went missing, and then she would go missing. And they thought they had the poster killer in custody, like in prison for something else, but he would never admit it. So basically this girl named Sally, she is a victim advocate for the victims of, or she's retired from that, and she gets she sees a poster with her face on it, and so she's trying to figure out what's going on. Is it the same killer? Was it a team? And people keep showing up dead, so she's just trying to figure it out. I thought it was really good. I liked it. I thought the clues were clever, so there's that. The next book I read, I actually have a copy of. The next book I read was The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. Honestly, it feels like I read this 100 years ago. Honestly, I don't know, but it's about 3 different women who are stood up by the same man on Valentine's Day, and it just goes through each of the women and their stories and their relationship with this one man. And I was so angry at the main character, like at the main man character, for so long. Like I was so confused, but I was trusting the process because I knew something was gonna happen that like put it all together, but it took till the end of the book. But I was genuinely shocked. I really loved this. I love Beth O'Leary. Her books are very wholesome in my opinion, and also they are primarily closed door, which is my preferred kind of romance. So I really liked this, and since it's based around Valentine's Day, I read it around Valentine's Day. The next book that I read is called Small Secrets by Lucy Gocher. Stevie and Nate are the main characters. They have a true crime podcast where they talk about crimes. The very first crime that they talked about in their very first episode is repeated, so they have like a copycat killer or something. Anyway, they're trying to figure it out through their podcast, and they're interviewing people trying to figure out what happened, and that's kind of the story. Very shocking. I thought it was really good, and I actually listened to this. It's British. That was fun. The next book I read was The Teacher by Frida McFadden, and it actually came out in February. I'm not gonna lie, this book kind of gave me the ick. I listened to it rather than like read it, but like I said, gave me the ick. I know a lot of people really liked it, and I can see why they liked it, but it's about this, I don't even know how to describe it without like giving it away. I will say it had a really good twist at the end. Okay, so it goes back and forth between 2 different characters. Eve, she is a teacher at a high school, and she is married to another teacher at the high school. They live a very mundane life. They have a very mundane relationship. They're kind of like, they have exactly 1 kiss a day, that kind of thing. And then there's a student named Addie who, it was a suspected affair with a teacher the previous school year, and then she is in the husband's class this year. sister, and yeah, it's a whole thing. Addie, it says Addie can't be trusted. She lies, she hurts people, she destroys lives. At least that's what everyone says, but nobody knows the real Addie. Nobody knows the secrets that could destroy her, and Addie will do anything to keep it quiet. So that was certainly not what I was expecting. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but it gave me the ick because adult relationships with minors is not okay. That's pretty much it there. Next is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score, and this is book number 3 and the final book in the Knock 'Em Out series. So it's part of Things We Never Got Over and Things We Hide from the Light. This was actually my favorite out of all 3 of them. The first 2 books are about the Morgan brothers. There's Nash and Knox, and then the 3rd book is about Lucian, and Lucian is their childhood best friend. So I really liked this one. This was like childhood best friends, unrequited crush love type thing, to enemies to strangers back to enemies. I don't know, it dealt with a lot of really important things like grief and just so many different things, revisiting your past, and it had some heavy topics in it, but I really liked it. This was definitely my favorite out of all 3. It was so long. It took me forever to get finished with it. I downloaded it on my Kindle when it first came out because it's on Kindle Unlimited, and it literally just took me so long to even get started on it, but I'm so glad I finally finished it. I was a really big fan, and it is a really long book, so that's why it took me so long. But the next book I read was Vacation Wars by Megan Quinn, and I said in my January book wrap up that Megan Quinn is very hit or miss for me. A lot of her books are very spicy, but some of her books are like very minimal spice level, and I prefer the minimal spice level. I just said before, my favorite romances are Closed Door. So for me to have read a couple of Megan Quinn books, some of them are too much. I just have to stop reading halfway through. However, I can usually tell based on what the cover looks like how spicy it's gonna be, and if it has the Audible stuff included with it, usually that means that it's like not as spicy. It's a little bit more tame. So this one is about Tessa. She went to Santorini. It's where their family vacations every single year. Her sister, her twin sister, is getting married in Santorini at this resort they go to every single year, and she had this crush on this guy for the longest time, and then she kissed him, and then she didn't see him again for 7 years. She thought she scared him off. Turns out they had a secret crush on each other their whole lives, and it's really fun to see how that relationship plays out. It's called the Vacation Wars because the sister and their 2 friends that are there with them are trying to like set her up with a bunch of different guys on the island, and she is like fighting back. So it's like a war, if that makes sense. I am so annoyed with my hair. It won't stay. This piece won't stay no matter what. It's too short. Okay, so the next book I read was it's The Last Applicant by Rebecca Hanover, and oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna need to open this really quickly. Okay, we have an admissions like advisor, or like the main admissions person at a highly coveted private school in Manhattan, and this woman Sarah is desperate to get her child into the school, so she does everything that she can to get on the good side of Audrey, who is the admissions person. And I don't know, y'all, she's like stalking her. It's like from different points of view. We get Audrey's point of view about Sarah, and we get Sarah's point of view about Audrey, and so like I don't know, it's like set up in different parts, but it was truly a wild ride, and I will tell you what, there was something that I literally never once expected. That's all I got. It was very strange. I listened to it. I thought it was okay. I don't remember what I rated it though. All right, the next book I read is Like a Mother by Mina Hardy, and this one was about a woman whose husband dies from cancer, and the mother-in-law that she has never met shows up out of nowhere and invites her to live with her. And she, the wife, what's her name? Sorry, Sarah, that's her name. Sarah kind of is out of options. She doesn't know what to do, so she goes and lives with her mother-in-law, and they move to an entirely different state, and she has a daughter, and then she's also pregnant with a child that they conceived before her husband died, obviously. And so it's like her last piece of him, and honestly I was getting like cult vibes and also like psycho mother-in-law. The whole thing was very strange. I really liked it. I thought it was a good story, but it was just very strange. I read a lot of thrillers this month, obviously. The last book I read was Just Another Missing Person by Jillian McAllister, and this is about a woman who is a detective inspector who gets called in to work because there has been the report of a missing girl, and while she's trying to figure out what's going on, where this girl is, she's obviously trying to find her. She's a detective. She's working on it. She notices some very weird things about the situation, and just something doesn't add up. So she is trying to get to the bottom of that. We get the perspective of someone else whose daughter disappeared that the detective inspector was supposed to be looking for and never found. So her daughter, I mean his daughter's case isn't quite cold, but it also is not being like actively worked on. So he is like grieving over that, and the daughter of this detective is she like did something that she regrets, and so she's like trying to make sure that her daughter's secret doesn't get found out, and so she's a little bit distracted by that, and it's a whole thing, but I thought it was really interesting, and I definitely think there was a plot twist that I wasn't expecting. I was happy with the way it ended, but definitely was not expecting it to go the way that it did, even though I feel like it gives you clues, like very easy to foreshadow, but maybe I'm just not good at following the signs. I don't know. Either way, that was the last book that I finished in February. So with that being said, we've got my goals for February, we've got my goals for March, we've got all my books from February. This is probably a long video, so if you guys watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I will do this in 2 parts next month like I usually do. But again, thank you for staying and watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!